I'd like to tell you about something that most people will go their entire lives without understanding, and their misunderstanding of it will cost them nearly everything they might have achieved. Stand with me for a moment at this window. Look down at the city below. Thousands of people moving through their days, each one hoping that somehow something good will happen to them. They buy lottery tickets. They wish upon stars. They cross their fingers and knock on wood. And when they see someone else succeed where they have failed, they say the most dangerous words in the English language. He got lucky. Now let me ask you a question. Have you ever noticed that the same people seem to get lucky over and over again? And have you noticed that the people who complain most about their bad luck seem to have the worst luck of anyone you know? Isn't that curious? If luck were truly random, if it worked the way most people assume it works, it would distribute itself evenly across the population over time. Lightning is random. Lightning doesn't strike the same person repeatedly because they're lucky with lightning. It strikes according to probability, without pattern or preference. But what we call luck doesn't behave that way at all. It clusters, it repeats, it follows certain individuals throughout their lives while seeming to avoid others entirely. The same businessman gets lucky with investment after investment. The same salesperson happens to be in the right place at the right time year after year. The same entrepreneur stumbles into opportunity after opportunity. Meanwhile, others wait their entire lives for a single lucky break that never arrives. Now, why do you suppose that is? Here's what I want you to notice. When someone succeeds, we reach for the word lucky as if it explains something, but it explains nothing. It's the intellectual equivalent of closing a door. Once we've labeled something as luck, we stop investigating. We stop asking questions. We accept mystery where understanding is available to anyone willing to look. Someone once asked Dr. Albert Schweitzer, "Doctor, what's wrong with men today?" The great doctor was silent a moment, and then he said, "Men simply don't think." That's precisely what happens when we use luck as an explanation. We stop thinking. Let me show you what I mean. Think of someone you know or know of who seems extraordinarily fortunate. Someone whose life appears blessed by good luck at every turn. Now ask yourself, what was that person doing in the 5 years before their lucky break? What were they studying? What skills were they developing? What relationships were they building? What problems were they solving that nobody asked them to solve? If you investigate, if you actually look instead of simply labeling, you'll discover something that was invisible to casual observers. You'll find years of activity that preceded the visible moment of luck. The observers saw only the harvest. They never noticed the planting. Emerson understood this. He wrote that shallow men believe in luck. Strong men believe in cause and effect. Notice what he's saying. It's not that believing in luck makes you shallow. It's that shallow observation leads to belief in luck. When we don't look deeply enough to see causes, we're left believing in effects that seem to have no origin. Now here's something interesting. Watch what happens in any organization when a position opens up at the top. There are always people who say, if only they'd give me that job, then I'd show them what I can do. Do you see the problem? They're waiting to be given responsibility before they demonstrate capability. They want the promotion before doing the work that deserves promotion. They're asking for the harvest before they've planted anything. And when someone else gets the position, someone who's been preparing invisibly for years, they say, how lucky. It's that simple, and it's that tragic. Because here's what the lucky have learned that the others haven't. The word luck is a confession of ignorance. It's an admission that we haven't bothered to investigate. Every time we use luck to explain an outcome, we're really saying, I don't know how this happened, and I'm not curious enough to find out. But there's something else at work here. Something that explains why intelligent people cling to the belief in luck even when observation contradicts it. If luck is real, if success is randomly distributed, then our own lack of success isn't our responsibility. We're simply waiting for our turn. Fortune's wheel will eventually spin in our direction, and there's nothing much to be done in the meantime except hope. Do you see how comforting that belief is? And how dangerous? As long as we believe success is random, we don't have to examine why we haven't prepared for it. As long as others simply got lucky, we don't have to ask uncomfortable questions about our own choices. The belief in luck is a shield. It protects us from responsibility. But it protects us at terrible cost, because while we're waiting for luck to find us, others are doing something else entirely. and what they're doing will become clear in just a moment. For now, I want you to sit with this question. What if everything you've attributed to luck, every success you've envied, every opportunity you've missed, was actually something else entirely? What if luck, as most people understand it, simply doesn't exist? Now here's where most people go wrong. They believe that success comes first and preparation follows. They think that if they could just get that one lucky break, that promotion, that inheritance, that chance meeting, then they would finally be able to do what it takes to succeed. It's like the man who stands in front of the cold stove and says, "Give me heat, and then I'll add the wood." We smile at his foolishness. But this is precisely how millions of people approach their lives every single day. They want the heat before the wood, the harvest before the planting, the reward before the service. And when the stove remains cold, when life fails to give them what they haven't earned, they conclude that fortune has been unkind. Let me tell you something which, if you really understand it, will alter your life immediately. Opportunity is not scarce. Readiness is scarce. At this very moment, there are more opportunities around you than you could pursue in 100 lifetimes. Businesses waiting to be started, skills waiting to be learned, relationships waiting to be built, problems waiting to be solved by anyone prepared to solve them. The doors aren't locked. You simply haven't prepared yourself to walk through them. Think about it this way. Imagine a man drowning in the middle of the ocean, crying out that he's dying of thirst. The water is everywhere, infinite in quantity, surrounding him completely. But he can't use any of it because he hasn't prepared. He has no way to desalinate it, no container to collect rain, no knowledge of survival techniques. The opportunity, the water, is abundant beyond measure. His preparation is zero, and so he perishes in the midst of plenty, convinced that life has been cruel to him. This is the state of most human beings with regard to opportunity. They're surrounded by it and dying for lack of it because they've never prepared themselves to recognize it, seize it, or use it. Now, why do you suppose most people remain unprepared? The psychologist Rollo May identified the problem precisely. He wrote, "The opposite of courage in our society is not cowardice, it is conformity." Let me say that again because it's crucial. The opposite of courage is not cowardice, it is conformity. The 95 out of 100 who never reach their potential don't lack ability. They don't even lack effort. Many of them work desperately hard at their jobs. What they lack is the courage to prepare differently than everyone around them. They conform to the common assumption that life is a lottery, that success is randomly distributed, that there's nothing much to be done except wait and hope. And so they do what everyone else does. They go to work, they come home, they wait for their ship to come in, but they never sent a ship out. They wait for the phone to ring with good news, but they never make the calls that would generate good news. They wait for someone to notice them, but they never become someone worth noticing. And when they see another person succeed, someone who has been preparing invisibly for years, they say, "How lucky." It's that simple, and it's that common. The Bible states this principle without equivocation. As ye sow, so shall ye reap. Not as fortune determines, not as luck would have it. As ye sow, as you plant, so shall ye reap. The stove gives heat after you add the wood. The harvest comes after the planting. The opportunity reveals itself after the preparation, never before. William James, the great Harvard psychologist, made a discovery that changed everything we understand about human potential. He found that human beings can alter their lives by altering their attitudes of mind. Notice what this means. Attitudes precede circumstances. Preparation precedes opportunity. The wood comes before the heat. Every wisdom tradition in human history has understood this. Every person who has achieved anything significant has lived by it. Yet somehow it remains the strangest secret, hidden in plain sight, ignored by the very people who need it most. Let me show you what this looks like in practice. Take two people in the same office. They have the same job title, the same salary, the same access to opportunities. A promotion opens up. One of them has spent the last 3 years preparing, not ostentatiously, not asking for recognition, but quietly, consistently developing skills, building relationships, solving problems before being asked, studying the industry, learning from every mistake. This person has been putting wood in the stove every single day, whether anyone was watching or not. The other has spent the same 3 years waiting, working their required hours, going home, watching television, assuming that time on the job would eventually be rewarded, waiting for someone to notice them, waiting for their luck to change. The promotion goes to the first person. The second one says, lucky. But was it luck? Or was it simply the moment when 3 years of hidden preparation became visible? Well, it's pretty apparent, isn't it? Here's the key. The prepared person wasn't hoping the stove would give heat. They were adding wood every single day, regardless of whether the stove felt warm yet. They understood something the unprepared person never grasped. The heat will come. It must come. It's simply how stoves work, and life works the same way. Now here's the question that should keep you awake tonight. In what area of your life are you standing before a coal stove demanding heat before you add the wood? Where are you waiting for circumstances to change before you change? Where are you hoping for luck instead of preparing for opportunity? Because here's what I've observed across decades of studying success and failure. The luck everyone's waiting for isn't coming. It never does. Fortune follows preparation the way shadow follows substance. If the mythology of luck has crumbled, if random chance doesn't explain why some succeed while others fail, then what does? What are we actually seeing when someone gets lucky? That's what we're going to explore next. And the answer, I promise you, has been hiding in plain sight for 2,000 years. Here is the truth that transforms everything. The Roman philosopher Seneca said it 2,000 years ago, and every wise person since has confirmed it. Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. Now let me say that again, because this single statement contains the key to everything we're exploring together. Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity, not chance, not randomness, not the favor of the gods or the alignment of the stars. Preparation meeting opportunity. This isn't philosophy, it's mechanics. It's how the phenomenon actually operates, visible to anyone who looks carefully enough to see it. Think of it this way. A farmer understands something about harvest that most people never grasp about success. He doesn't wait for a good harvest. He doesn't hope for one. He creates the conditions that make a good harvest inevitable. In the spring, he prepares his soil, he removes the rocks, turns the earth, adds whatever nutrients the land requires. Then he plants his seeds, not randomly, but with care and knowledge, each seed placed where it has the best chance to grow. Through the summer, he tends his fields. He removes weeds that would choke his crops. He ensures water reaches the roots. He protects against pests. He works through heat and discomfort when he would rather be resting. And in the fall, something that looks exactly like luck appears. An abundant harvest. His neighbor looks over the fence and says, "How fortunate you are this year." But the farmer knows better. He knows there was no fortune involved, only the natural consequence of seeds planted and tended. He knows that luck had nothing to do with it, unless luck means the predictable result of sustained preparation meeting the opportunity of fertile ground. This is the strangest secret about luck. It operates by law, not chance. And once you understand the law, everything changes. Here's the key. Opportunity opens like a window on its own schedule for unpredictable durations. You cannot control when the window will open. You cannot force it. You cannot predict exactly how wide it will swing or how long it will stay that way. But you can be certain of this. It will open. It always does. Opportunity opens for everyone, usually many times throughout a life. The question is never whether opportunity will come. The question is whether you will be standing there, prepared when it does. Will you be at the window, dressed and ready, bag packed, skills sharpened, having rehearsed this moment 1,000 times in your mind? Or will you be across the room, unprepared, caught off guard, scrambling to get ready while the window slowly closes again? The unprepared experience a universe of closed doors. The prepared experience a universe of open ones. Same universe, different preparation. Let me show you why this matters so much. Most people believe that opportunity knocks once, briefly, and if you miss it, you've missed your chance. But this is exactly wrong. Opportunity knocks constantly, hundreds of times, thousands of times throughout a life. It's knocking right now, somewhere in your vicinity, but only the prepared can hear it. Only the prepared can recognize what looks like an ordinary Tuesday afternoon is actually the moment everything could change, if they're ready. The unprepared person walks past opportunity every single day without seeing it. They're waiting for opportunity to announce itself with trumpets and banners, but opportunity almost never does. It comes quietly, dressed in ordinary clothes, looking like just another day. Only the prepared can see what's underneath. Now here's something most people miss entirely. Preparation compounds like interest in a bank account. Consider what happens when someone spends 1 hour per day in deliberate preparation. Not just working, preparing, developing skills, building knowledge, strengthening relationships, solving problems they weren't asked to solve. 1 hour per day equals 365 hours per year. In 3 years, over 1,000 hours of focused development. In 5 years, nearly 2,000 hours, enough to achieve genuine mastery in almost any field. But it's not merely additive. That's what most people don't understand. Each hour of preparation builds on every hour before it. Skills compound, knowledge connects, relationships deepen. The 1,000th hour of preparation builds on all 999 hours that preceded it. After 5 years, the prepared person isn't merely 5 years more prepared. They're exponentially more capable, more connected, more ready. They see opportunities the unprepared cannot see. They can act on opportunities the unprepared cannot act on. And when their preparation finally meets opportunity, when the window finally opens and they step through, observers call them lucky. It's that simple. The prepared don't hope for good fortune. They create the conditions in which what looks like good fortune becomes inevitable. Throughout history, the great minds have agreed on this one point. They've disagreed about almost everything else, about politics, about religion, about the meaning of life, but on this, there is complete consensus. Emerson said, "Shallow men believe in luck, strong men believe in cause and effect." William James discovered that human beings can alter their lives by altering their attitudes of mind. The Bible declares, "As ye sow, so shall ye reap." The Chinese have a proverb, "The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now." Every wisdom tradition points to the same truth. Preparation precedes fortune. The seed determines the harvest. What we call luck is simply the moment when preparation, built up invisibly over years, finally becomes visible. Now here's the question that changes everything. If luck is preparation meeting opportunity, what does that mean for you? It means you're not waiting for fortune's favor. It means you're not at the mercy of random chance. It means every single day presents a choice. Prepare or don't. Add wood to the stove or stand there demanding heat. It means the lucky breaks you've envied in others were created, not received. And if they can be created by others, they can be created by you. But knowing this is not enough. Believing it intellectually won't change anything. The question now becomes, is it true? Does this principle actually hold up under examination? Can we see it operating in real situations, across different domains, in ways that confirm this isn't just theory, but observable reality? That's what we'll explore next. Let me show you how this works in the situations you face every day. Two salespeople start the same Monday morning. They have the same territory, the same products, the same market conditions. They have the same number of hours in a day and access to the same potential customers. But one of them spent the weekend preparing. Not working exactly, preparing. Studying a new technique. Rehearsing responses to common objections. Researching specific clients they plan to call. Visualizing successful conversations and thinking through how to handle difficult ones. The other spent the weekend recharging, which is often another word for avoiding preparation, entertainment, distraction, recovery from a week that depleted without developing. By Friday, their results look entirely different. One has closed deals the other couldn't close. One has opened conversations the other couldn't open. One has recognized opportunities the other walked right past without seeing. Someone watching from the outside might say the first salesperson was luckier this week. They happened to call the right prospects at the right time. They happened to say the right things. Good fortune seemed to smile on them. But we know better now, don't we? They created the conditions in which more of their calls would be right. They manufactured what observers call luck through preparation so thorough it became invisible. This happens in every field, every day, in ways that remain hidden to those who haven't learned to see. Consider what happens at a professional conference or networking event. The same room, the same people, the same opportunity for everyone present. The prepared person walks in having researched who would be attending. They've identified specific people they want to meet. They've prepared their introduction, not a scripted speech, but a clear sense of who they are and what they're looking for. They know what they want to learn. They know what they have to offer. They happen to meet exactly the right contact. Someone who becomes a client, a partner, a mentor, a friend. Someone who opens a door that changes everything. The unprepared person attends the same event and meets no one useful. They wander through the room making small talk, waiting for something to happen. Afterward, they complain about the poor quality of the gathering. They wonder why these events never seem to work for them. Same room, same people, different preparation. Now here's where this becomes really interesting. Watch what happens in any organization when a position opens at the top. There are always two types of people who notice. The first type has been preparing invisibly for years, developing skills beyond what their current job requires, building relationships throughout the organization, solving problems before being asked to solve them, learning everything they can about how the business actually works. They've been treating their current position as preparation for the next one, adding wood to the stove every day, whether the stove felt warm yet or not. The second type has been waiting, working their required hours, doing what was asked, but rarely more, assuming that time in the position would eventually be rewarded, waiting for someone to recognize their potential, waiting to be given responsibility before demonstrating capability. The promotion goes to the first person. The second says politics, or favoritism, or, the most common of all, lucky. But was it luck? Or was it simply the moment when years of hidden preparation became visible? Let me give you a way to test this for yourself. Think of the last time something good happened to you, something that felt like luck, like fortune, like being in the right place at the right time. Now trace backward. Be rigorous about this. Was it really random? Was there something you did earlier, maybe so long ago you've forgotten, that positioned you to be in that place, that led you to know that person, that gave you the skill to recognize what you were seeing? Trace the chain of causation back far enough, and you'll almost always find preparation you'd stopped noticing. You'll find wood you put in the stove so long ago you forgot you'd done it. When you begin seeing this pattern, you'll discover that almost nothing that looks like luck is actually random. The chance encounter happened because you cultivated a relationship that led to an invitation that put you in that room. The lucky timing happened because you developed skills that made you the obvious choice when the timing was right. Preparation preceded what looked like luck. It always does. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and philosopher, understood this deeply. He wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Think about what this means. The obstacle isn't blocking your opportunity. The obstacle often is your opportunity. Problems are precisely where preparation proves its worth. The person who solves problems others avoid is preparing for success while appearing to simply work hard. The person who takes on challenges others refuse is adding wood to a stove they can't even see yet. And when that stove finally produces heat, when their preparation finally meets opportunity, everyone calls them lucky. It's that simple. But I can already hear the objection forming in your mind. What about genuine bad luck? What about illness, accident, circumstances truly beyond control? That's an important question. Let's address it directly. Now, let's be honest about something. Yes, genuine misfortune exists. People get sick. Accidents happen. Economic conditions shift in ways no individual can control. There are real circumstances that fall outside anyone's preparation. I'm not here to tell you that preparation prevents all difficulty, or that good people don't sometimes face terrible circumstances through no fault of their own. But here's what I want you to understand. Even within circumstances you cannot control, preparation determines your options. The prepared person facing adversity has choices the unprepared person doesn't have. They have skills they can fall back on. They have relationships they can call upon. They have knowledge that reveals paths forward the unprepared cannot see. Preparation doesn't guarantee specific outcomes. It maximizes probability and multiplies options. Consider two people who both lose their jobs on the same day, same circumstance, entirely outside their control. But one has spent years developing skills beyond what their job required. building relationships throughout their industry, maintaining their knowledge of market conditions, saving money against uncertainty. The other did only what was required, knew only the people they had to know, spent everything they earned. Both face the same misfortune. One will find new opportunity within weeks. The other may struggle for months or years. Same circumstance, different preparation. The unprepared will say the first person was lucky to find something so quickly. But we know better. Now here's something that goes even deeper, and I want you to think carefully about this. Opportunity almost never appears wearing a sign that says opportunity. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't arrive with trumpets and banners. It comes dressed as hard work. It comes disguised as problems. It arrives wearing the clothing of extra responsibility with no extra pay. The unprepared see only the costume, the difficulty, the effort, the burden, and they turn away. They're waiting for opportunity to look like opportunity. Easy, obvious, immediately rewarding. But that's not how opportunity works. The prepared see what's underneath the costume. They recognize that the difficult assignment no one wants is actually a chance to develop capabilities they couldn't develop any other way. They understand that the problem everyone avoids is actually an opportunity to prove value that can't be proven any other way. They know that the extra responsibility with no extra pay is preparation for the pay increase they want to earn. Watch successful people carefully. You'll notice they consistently step toward what others step away from. They volunteer for difficult projects. They take on problems everyone else avoids. They put in extra effort without calculating immediate return. This isn't sacrifice, it's preparation. They're adding wood to stoves they can't see yet, confident that heat will come. Here's the key insight. By the time opportunity announces itself clearly, by the time it's obvious to everyone that this is a chance worth taking, the prepared have already seized it. What remains for the unprepared is whatever the prepared didn't want. Now let me give you a practical principle that can change everything. 1 hour per day of study in your chosen field. That's all, just 1 hour. 1 hour per day of deliberate preparation, reading, learning, developing skills, strengthening relationships, solving problems you weren't asked to solve. Within 3 years, you will be an expert. Not a beginner, not an amateur, an expert. Within 5 years, you will be a national authority. The same hour spent watching television or scrolling through distractions produces nothing but regret. This is the most democratic principle imaginable. Everyone has an hour. Rich or poor, connected or isolated, credentialed or self-taught, everyone can find 60 minutes to invest in their own preparation. The barrier was never time. It was priority. Now, why do so few people invest that hour? They're waiting for luck instead of creating it. They're standing before the cold stove demanding heat. They're conforming to the common assumption that success is randomly distributed and there's nothing much to be done except hope. The Bible says, "To him that hath, more shall be given." This sounds unfair until you understand the mechanism. The person who is prepared attracts more opportunity. More opportunity provides more resources for preparation. More preparation attracts still more opportunity. The compound effect accelerates. What begins as 1 hour of daily discipline becomes a cascade of capability. What started as preparation becomes momentum. And what observers eventually see, the success, the achievement, the apparent good fortune, is simply the visible harvest of invisible planting. It's that simple, and it works for everyone who works it. Now here's where we must get specific. Understanding this principle is not the same as applying it. Believing it intellectually won't change your life. The question becomes, what does constant preparation actually look like? Not as philosophy, but as Tuesday morning reality. What does the prepared person actually do differently? That's where we go next, because understanding without application is just entertainment, and this understanding is too valuable to be merely entertaining. Now here's how this applies to you. Let me tell you something that will make all of this concrete and achievable. Because the danger at this point is that constant preparation sounds overwhelming, like a burden added to an already full life. One more thing you should be doing but probably won't. It's not. Preparation is not something you do in addition to your life. It is your life. Every hour of your day is already either building toward future capability or burning the time that could have built it. There is no neutral time. There is no such thing as maintenance, only growth or decay. The person who spends their evening watching television isn't resting. They're choosing. They're choosing to end the day no more prepared for opportunity than when it began. That's their right, but it's a choice with consequences. And the person who spends even 1 hour of that same evening in deliberate preparation, reading, studying, developing a skill, building a relationship, is also choosing. They're choosing to end each day slightly more ready for the window of opportunity when it opens. 1 hour. That's the price of luck. Not talent, not connections, not circumstances. 1 hour per day, applied consistently, compounds into capability that eventually becomes visible as fortune. Let me show you the arithmetic. 1 hour per day equals 365 hours per year. Most people never accumulate 365 focused hours on any subject in their entire lives, yet that's just 1 year of consistent daily practice. In 3 years, you will have invested over 1,000 hours. 1,000 hours of focused development in your chosen field will make you more knowledgeable than 95% of the people working in that field. You will have achieved what researchers call expertise, not mastery perhaps, but genuine expertise that separates you from the crowd. In 5 years, nearly 2,000 hours. At this point, you're not merely competent, you're becoming an authority. People seek your opinion. Opportunities that would never reach the unprepared begin reaching you as a matter of course. But here's what most people miss entirely. It's not merely additive. The 1,000th hour of preparation builds on all 999 hours before it. Skills don't just accumulate, they compound. Knowledge doesn't just stack, it connects. Each new thing you learn illuminates everything you've learned before. Each relationship you build opens doors to relationships you couldn't have built without it. After 5 years of consistent daily preparation, you're not merely 5 years ahead, you're exponentially more capable. You see patterns invisible to the unprepared. You recognize opportunities they walk past without noticing. You can act on chances they couldn't act on even if they saw them. This is what observers will call luck. Now let me give you a practical framework. This is what the prepared life actually looks like. In the morning, prepare. Before the demands of the day overwhelm your attention, invest in your own development. Study your field. Read what the best people in your industry are reading. Practice a skill you want to develop. Write down what you want to accomplish. This doesn't require 2 hours or 3 hours. It requires 1 hour of focused attention before you give your attention away to everything else. In the evening, review. Before the day disappears into sleep, ask yourself, what preparation did this day represent? What seeds did I plant? What wood did I add to the stove? If the answer is nothing, you've learned something important about tomorrow. Do this for 30 days and observe what happens. You will not transform your life in 30 days, but you will begin to notice something remarkable. You will begin to see differently. Opportunities that were always present will become visible. Conversations that would have passed without significance will suddenly contain possibility. Your luck will begin to shift, not because the world has changed, but because you've begun preparing yourself to see and seize what was always there. Now here's the question that stops most people before they start. I don't have an hour. I'm too busy. I'm too tired. I'm too overwhelmed. Let me ask you something directly. How much time do you spend watching television? How much time scrolling through whatever distraction presents itself? How much time in activities that prepare you for nothing except more of what you already have? Time is never the issue. Priority is always the issue. The person who says they have no time for preparation almost certainly has time for entertainment. They have time for complaint. They have time for activity that fills the hours without filling them with anything useful. It's not that they can't find an hour. It's that they've decided, consciously or not, that their future capability isn't worth an hour of their present comfort. That's a choice. And it's a choice with predictable consequences. Nietzsche wrote, "He who has a why can bear almost any how." When you truly understand why preparation matters, when you see clearly that you're not waiting for luck but creating it, the hour appears, the energy appears. The sacrifice of leisure doesn't feel like sacrifice because you understand what it's purchasing. You're not giving up entertainment. You're buying a future. You're investing in the person you're becoming. You're adding wood to a stove that will warm the rest of your life. Here's the key. Start today. Not tomorrow, not Monday, not when conditions improve. Today. The person who begins today, however imperfectly, will be further ahead in 1 year than the person who waits for perfect conditions to begin. Every day of delayed preparation is a day of compound growth lost forever. You cannot get it back. 1 hour. Today. That's all I'm asking you to consider. What would happen if you protected that hour like your future depended on it? Because it does. Now here's something that transforms how preparation feels. Most people think of preparation as self-improvement, and there's truth in that. You're developing yourself, you're building your capabilities, you're investing in your own future. But I want to show you something that goes deeper, something that resolves any tension between self-interest and service to others. Every act of genuine service is simultaneously an act of preparation. Let me say that again because it's important. When you serve others genuinely, when you contribute more than you're required to contribute, you're not just helping them, you're developing yourself. When you help a colleague with their problem, you learn something. You see a situation from a different angle. You develop skills you didn't know you lacked. You strengthen a relationship that may open doors you cannot currently see. When you mentor someone younger in your field, you clarify your own understanding. The questions they ask force you to think more clearly about what you know. Teaching something is the fastest way to master it yourself. When you contribute more than is required, when you solve problems without being asked, when you take on responsibility that isn't technically yours, you develop capabilities that can't be developed any other way. This isn't strategy. This is principle. This is how life actually works. Our rewards are always in exact proportion to our service. The Bible says it's more blessed to give than to receive. Most people read that as moral instruction, as if giving is simply the right thing to do, regardless of consequences. But it's more than moral instruction. It's accurate description of how giving develops the giver. Consider the hand that gives. Each act of giving exercises muscles of connection, understanding, and capability. The more it gives, the stronger it becomes. It develops grip. It develops reach. It develops the very strength needed to hold on to the good things that eventually come to it. The hand that only takes, that only waits to receive, atrophies. It loses the capacity that would allow it to hold what it wants. It becomes weak precisely because it never exercises. Emerson observed that all compensation follows this law. What you give, you receive in kind, not always immediately, not always from the same source, but inevitably and with compound interest. Now here's where most people go wrong. They try to calculate service strategically. They ask, what will I get from this? What's the return on this investment of effort? And that calculation poisons the principle. Service that calculates isn't genuine service. It's transaction wearing the costume of generosity. And it doesn't develop the server the same way genuine contribution does. Serve because service develops the server. The rewards follow naturally. Those who serve strategically, measuring every contribution against expected return, never develop the capacity that unconditional service builds. The person who does only what's required has made a choice. They've chosen to develop only the capability required for their current position. They've ensured they'll never be prepared for anything beyond it. The person who consistently gives more than required is making a different choice. They're developing capabilities beyond what their current role demands. They're preparing for positions they don't yet hold, for opportunities they cannot yet see. And when those opportunities arrive, when the window opens and they step through, everyone will call them lucky. Think about the most successful people you know. Watch them carefully. You'll notice a pattern. They give more than they take. They contribute more than they consume. They solve problems without calculating credit. They build others up without worrying about being overshadowed. This isn't charity. This isn't selflessness in the sense of ignoring their own interests. It's the mechanism by which they became capable of their success. Service was their preparation. Contribution was their development. Here's what I want you to understand. The hour of preparation doesn't have to be selfish self-improvement. It can be contribution that simultaneously develops your capability. You can add to others while adding to yourself. Help someone without being asked. Solve a problem that isn't technically yours. Mentor someone who needs guidance. Contribute to a project that won't directly benefit you. You're not sacrificing your preparation time. You're investing it in a way that prepares you even faster. Because here's the truth beneath all of this. The prepared person is not preparing only for themselves. They're preparing to be useful. They're preparing to serve at a level they couldn't serve before. They're preparing to meet needs they couldn't meet unprepared. What good fortune really is, at the deepest level, is the intersection of your preparation with someone else's need. When you are ready to solve a problem, and someone has that problem, luck appears. When you have developed a skill, and someone needs that skill, opportunity opens. When you've built a relationship, and that relationship can bridge two people who need each other, fortune smiles. But none of it is random. The problem exists because of circumstances beyond your control. But your readiness exists because of preparation within your control. The meeting between them is what we call opportunity. And it happens most frequently to those most prepared for it. Now let me show you something that elevates everything we've discussed, from technique to truth. Preparation creates luck is not merely a strategy for success. It's not a trick or a method or a productivity hack. It's a description of how life actually operates, a law as reliable as gravity. The universe is not random. It operates by principles as precise as mathematics. And the principle we've been exploring, that fortune follows preparation, is one of its fundamental laws. Consider the farmer once more. The human mind is much like a farmer's land. The land gives the farmer a choice. He may plant in that land whatever he chooses. The land doesn't care what is planted. It will return poison in just as wonderful abundance as it will corn. It will grow weeds just as readily as wheat. The land doesn't judge. It doesn't decide who deserves a good harvest. It simply operates by law. What is planted is what grows. And you are the farmer. Your life is the land. Your preparation is the seed. Plant preparation, and you harvest what looks like luck. Plant waiting, and you harvest more waiting. Plant complaint, and you harvest circumstances worth complaining about. Plant service, and you harvest opportunities to serve at higher levels. The harvest corresponds to the planting, not sometimes, not usually, always. This is not mysticism. This is observation. This is how life actually works for everyone who takes the time to see it. Marcus Aurelius understood this 2,000 years ago. He wrote that the universe operates according to rational principles discoverable by careful observation. He lived by those principles, and they served him through challenges greater than most of us will ever face. The Bible teaches the same truth in different language. As ye sow, so shall ye reap. Not as a moral warning, as a description of law. The reaping corresponds to the sowing. It cannot be otherwise. William James, approaching the same truth through psychology, discovered that human beings can alter their lives by altering their attitudes of mind. What seems like external fortune is actually internal preparation made visible. Every civilization that has examined the question of success has discovered the same law. Different words, different metaphors, different contexts, but the same underlying principle. Preparation precedes fortune. The seed determines the harvest. What we plant is what we grow. Now, here's what this means for how you see yourself. You are not subject to fortune. You are not a passive recipient of luck, good or bad. You are not waiting for circumstances to change. You are an architect. Every choice about how to spend your time is a choice about what to harvest. Every hour of preparation is a seed planted. Every act of service is cultivation that ensures growth. You are building your own fortune, brick by brick, hour by hour, seed by seed. Others will look at what you build and call it luck, but you will know the truth. You will know every stone you laid, every beam you lifted, every foundation you dug when no one was watching. The prepared don't manipulate fortune. They align with law. They understand how life actually works, and they work with it instead of against it. They stop demanding heat before adding wood. They stop expecting harvest before planting. They stop waiting for luck to find them, and start creating the conditions in which luck becomes inevitable. This is the deepest implication of everything we've discussed. Luck is a lie is not a discouraging message. It doesn't mean you're doomed by circumstance or trapped by your starting point. It means you're free. As long as success was random, you were a victim. You were subject to forces beyond your control, waiting for a wheel of fortune that might never turn in your direction. But if fortune follows preparation, if luck is what happens when readiness meets opportunity, then you're not a victim. You're a farmer. You're an architect. You're the builder of your own future. Everything changes when you understand this. The envy you felt toward the lucky disappears. You understand now what they did. You see the preparation that preceded their visible success. And you realize if they could do it, you can do it too. The frustration you felt at your own circumstances transforms. You stop waiting for things to change and start changing what you can control, your preparation, your development, your readiness for the window when it opens. The helplessness gives way to agency. You are not powerless. You have never been powerless. You simply didn't understand the law, and now you do. Let me return you to where we began, the window overlooking the city. Look down again at all those people moving through their days. The same streets, the same buildings, the same rush and flow of human activity. But you see them differently now, don't you? You can see the two groups. They look the same on the surface, but they're living in different worlds. Some of them will finish today more prepared than they started. They will study something. They will practice something. They will build something. They will serve someone in a way that develops their capacity. Tomorrow, they will be slightly more ready for opportunity than they were today. This tiny daily advantage compounded over weeks, over months, over years will make them lucky. Others will finish today no more prepared than they started. They will consume rather than create. They will wait rather than work. They will rest rather than develop. Tomorrow, they will be no more ready than they were today. This tiny daily stagnation, compounded over the same weeks and months and years, will make them unlucky. Same city, same opportunities, same hours in the day, different preparation. The difference between these two groups is not talent. It's not background. It's not circumstance or connection or favor. It's not the random distribution of good fortune. It's the simple, daily choice to prepare or not. Now let me speak to you directly. You've spent the last hour learning something valuable. You understand now what luck actually is, and more importantly, what it isn't. You understand that fortune follows preparation like shadow follows substance. You understand the law behind what others call luck, but understanding is not enough. Understanding without application is the most sophisticated form of failure. You have the map, but you don't walk the path. You see the law, but you don't live by it. Don't let this become entertainment. Don't nod along with the truth and then return to the life you were living before. Let this be the day your life changed direction. Here is what I want you to do. Today, not tomorrow, not next week, not when conditions improve. Today. Identify your hour. Find the 60 minutes you will invest in preparation. Perhaps it's before the rest of your household wakes. Perhaps it's during lunch. Perhaps it's in the evening, in time you've been giving to activities that prepare you for nothing. It doesn't matter when. It matters that you choose. Protect that hour. Guard it like the precious thing it is. Let nothing take it from you. Not distractions, not obligations that could be delayed, not the comfortable pull of entertainment. This hour is an investment in your future self. It deserves protection. Fill that hour. Study your field. Develop a skill. Read what the best people in your industry are reading. Strengthen a relationship. Solve a problem you weren't asked to solve. Serve someone without calculating return. It doesn't matter exactly what you do. It matters that you're adding wood to the stove. Then do it again tomorrow, and the day after, and the day after that. Within weeks, you'll begin to notice something. Your luck will start to shift. Opportunities that were always present will become visible. Conversations will begin to open doors you couldn't see before. Within months, others will comment on your good fortune. They'll wonder what changed. They'll ask what your secret is. Within years, you will live in a different world. A world where opportunity seems to seek you out, where doors open before you knock, where success appears to flow naturally from everything you do. But you will know the truth. You will know that what they call luck is simply the harvest of seeds you planted when no one was watching. You will know that fortune favored you because you made yourself favorable to fortune. You will know that the window of opportunity opens for everyone, but you prepared yourself to see it, reach it, and climb through it. Look out the window one more time. The same opportunities that will make others lucky are available to you right now, today. The same doors that will open for the prepared are waiting for you. The only question that has ever mattered is whether you will prepare. The window of opportunity opens for everyone. It's opening right now, somewhere in your life. A chance to develop a skill, a relationship waiting to be built, a problem waiting to be solved by someone ready to solve it. The only question is whether you've prepared yourself to see it, reach it, and climb through it. It's that simple. Everything worthwhile in life came to us free. Our minds, our ability to think, our capacity to prepare, our freedom to choose how we spend each hour. These are priceless possessions that cost us nothing to receive, but they cost everything to waste. You have within you right now everything you need to begin. Not tomorrow, not when you feel ready, now. The window is open. Start today. You have nothing to lose, but you have your whole life to win.